I'm John Hupalo of Invite Education. Welcome to My College Corner. I have a great guest today to talk about how he's making it super simple to save for college. With May 29th, 529 Day quickly approaching, I wanted to introduce you to one of the innovative thinkers in this area. And God knows, somebody needs to help us figure this out. Many of us with kids or grandchildren want them to fulfill their dream of college to get the very real benefits of a degree, but it feels very confusing and too often overwhelming. So what do people do? Sometimes, sadly, nothing. They bury their heads in the sand and hope it'll work out. Well, there's a better way. My guest today has been dedicated to making it easier to save for college since 2008. After a successful career in hardware and software business development and sales solutions at Fortune 500 companies, he founded GimmePlease.com. In the words of the startup world, he then pivoted to focus his attention to college savings. For almost 10 years now, he's put his nose to the grindstone to create what he calls a social savings platform for college savings. Well, without further ado, let me welcome to My College Corner the founder and CEO of GiftofCollege.com, Wayne Weber. Wayne, welcome to My College Corner.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me.
I have to tell you, Wayne, I just love what you're doing. So let's start simply. When you say social savings platform for college savings, what does that mean?
Really, it means a gift registry. We're as simple as that. We're looking into this. There's wedding registries for a wedding, baby registries for a baby. Well, now we have a college savings gift registry, and that's what Gift of College is, a registry for your 529 where friends, family, or employers can contribute.
Well, that's a great idea, Wayne. What gave you this idea?
Just personal problem, which is, you find out, that those are really some of the better ideas, are trying to figure out something on your own. I went to give to my nieces and nephews into their college savings plan. I used to be the cool uncle that would, give them toys and a whole bunch of things my sisters didn't want them having. However, I decided with the debt and the positioning of where college is going, they needed the money. I tried it, and that was that many years ago, going back, 9 years now, where I gave it that shot, and it was just difficult. You had to write checks. I had to get account numbers from people and mail things in, and I just thought there would be a better way. So I decided to build it.
Well, I'm glad you did, Wayne. I wanted to ask you, it's a little bit of a tangent, but did you have student loans when you went to school? I ask all my guests this question.
I did not. Myself, I did not. My wife did, however, and we got married right out of college, so yes, student loans out of school.
So you inherited them. But the reason I ask is, and I'm so glad you brought this up about what drove you into this opportunity, and that is it's really personal for all of us in one way or another. It's personal for me with what we're doing in Invite Education, and I guess I'm not surprised, and this is the first time I heard that it was really personal for you as well.
Yeah, for sure. And it even is more personal now because I'm helping my nieces, my nephews. Well, some of those nieces and nephews, since it takes so long to build a company, they're already off to college and graduated, and some of them have graduated with student loan debt. So that's the very problem we're trying to address. And it's pretty cool. Our gift registry is a registry for 529 college savings plan and student loan accounts. So we don't talk about that as much, but having a friend, a grandparent, or your employer having them help you pay for college, pay down that college debt, is often just as important as getting savings started as early as possible.
I was going to ask you about that, Wayne, so thanks for bringing it up. But it wasn't, I didn't really understand that you were doing something related to student loans as well until someone in my office mentioned it. And how is that a new feature on the card, or has that been there since day one?
It's been there since day one with the card, which launched, the physical card at retail launched just this last holiday. But we've been doing it for a couple of years now. And we were working with a student loan provider that also carried some savings products. And just the idea kind of came out where, we're helping people save for college. There's also this element of pay for college, whether you're there or you've already gone. So it did, just in the evolution of the business, it kind of surfaced. And I'll tell you what, we have now sold millions of dollars of gift cards. And to date, 22% of them that have been redeemed into student loan accounts.
Well, that's tremendous, Wayne. And the statistics will tell you that a child is 6 times more likely to go to college if they know there's money set aside. And that's really sending a very powerful message like you did for your nieces and your nephews. But, walk me through this. You've done a great job of actually simplifying this process. So just if I'm a grandparent, an uncle, or a parent, and I want to give the Gift of College card, what do I do? How does this work?
Yeah, so you could get Gift of College gift cards at Toys R Us, Babies R Us across the United States. We're also coming into several other retailers, including HEB stores in Texas, Fred's stores and Fred's pharmacies in 17 states, coming down the pipe to Best Buy across the nation, and a whole bunch of other cool retailers. But it makes it that simple, where it's a card product that can be used through Gift of College only, and Gift of College works with all 529 plans.
So I don't have to worry about being in one plan or another. It's all plans. Great.
You got it. It's all plans, and you know what, John? Most plans, there's several that aren't included in this, but most you can start as little as $25, and that's the entry point for our gift cards. They're $25 to $500.
Now, do I already have to have an account established, or can I open a 529 account through your site as well?
You can't open it directly through our site, but we certainly have some featured 529 partners, some great tools for comparing 529 plans, which are provided by Invite Education, powered by Invite Education. So some great compare tools of plans. And then, additionally to that, some of our gift cards are actually co-branded in the state they reside with that state 529. That doesn't mean that you can't use that card for any 529 or a student loan, but it does give an opportunity for a state 529 plan like where I'm at here in California, ScholarShare, to co-brand onto those gift cards and be represented in the stores at Toys R Us and Babies R Us.
Well, that's just an absolutely terrific message, and it begs the question. And as a consumer, and these are always questions that have to be asked, but do I pay fees as a consumer to access this, or how does this work on the fee side?
You do. So it's very similar to like a Visa or an Amex gift card, where there's a purchase charge on it. A purchase charge is where literally the retailer makes their margin, but it's for someone like you or I that can go and buy $100 gift card at a retailer and pay similar to what you would do with, like I said, Visa, Vanilla, or Amex, a $5.95 purchase charge on that $100.
Mm-hmm.
It's the purchaser that pays that. Once the gift's given, that $100 gift card doesn't expire. It doesn't have any inactivity fees, and there's no other charges for someone to use Gift of College or redeem that card. So that card is worth $100.
So that's really tremendous. So I can go to Toys R Us or Babies R Us or any of those other retailers that you talked about, and as I'm checking out, I have a toy for my niece, but then I can also pick up a $25 Gift of College card to help her save for college as well. That's basically how it works, right?
You got it. Absolutely.
Well, that's tremendous. I have to tell you, when I was a kid, I don't know if I was 6 or 7. I was pretty young, was all I remember. But one of my aunts gave me a pair of socks on my birthday. I got to tell you, I was scarred for life. Socks when you're 6 or 7. Now I was looking for a G.I. Joe, and here she comes with socks. And I'm just wondering though, if I got a Gift of College card then, if maybe I would have connected this idea that college is really important to my family, and they're making a big deal about it. So maybe I get a little gift, but I'm also getting this now physical, tangible card in my hand that is now meaningful to me. Do you have any anecdotes or families using your products where they're coming back and talking to you about just how powerful this messaging is to their children?
Well, we know how powerful it is because of what you brought up earlier. So a child is 6 to 7 times more likely to attend and graduate college than their peers, knowing they have a savings account for college for them. And what that really means, it means, do they understand money or not? Are they, once they hit the age where they know money, kids know money, and gift cards are now really synonymous with value, with money. So they know the power of it. Once a child knows that it's money, that's where the belief comes in, because they know the power of this instrument we use called money. And if you're telling them, I'm saving this for you, for college, it's super powerful. And obviously, the stats prove that. Well, the gift cards, I think, have, again, because they're recognized as value, there most certainly is a piece to that. The antidote I can come up with is really just what we've seen on the registry. It's always refreshing, to see some of the kids involved. So, really the registry's mostly the parents, but every once in a while you see a kid engaged on the website with their parents' account, soliciting for their 8th grade graduation party.
Yeah.
I'm saving for college. Give me money for college, sharing that with their friends, putting it out on Facebook, and then seeing a weekend, where one account gets 50 contributions to it.
Yeah.
Because the kiddo had a graduation party and literally brought thousands of dollars into their 529 plan. So that's the success stuff that we see, and we believe is pretty cool.
Well, Wayne, I've known you for a while now, and I know you've had this vision and dream in your eye to have exactly that story be told, that there's an easy way for families to come and do this. And one of the great things that I think you've done to promote this is really try to forge partnerships. You talked about the state officials and the treasurers and private companies, either fund managers, those in the industry, Toys R Us, the retailers. Can you talk a little bit about your success there and how all that happened?
Sure. John, it's I look back and I wonder, how did all these years go by? How has it been? We're coming up on 10 years.
Right.
How in the heck has that happened?
Right.
And what you've kind of laid out is what happened with all that time. There is a lot of learning to do. When I first went to give a gift to my niece since they're 529, that day is the day I learned what 529 was. We still have a tremendous amount of parents today, parents that don't know what a 529 is. This was back then, and I didn't have kids. So, I had no idea. So it was an entire new industry to me. And then understanding the states that were involved. So it's been a fun, educational ride. But the forging of the partnerships was key. You can't just come into a financial services industry and throw a product out there and just expect it to be, accepted. You have to really, there's a lot to it, and the industry needs to learn about you. So it's a slow process, especially for a new player. But then the same with the gift card. By the time I was, a few years into thinking I actually knew, some really specifics about 529 and was becoming more and more of a 529 specialist, professional, working towards an expert, I had to go and figure out the gift card industry.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, when you walk into a store that has that wall of gift cards, 200 gift cards on it,
right,
you do not see a new company up there.
That's right.
Very, very rare. You see marquee brands from iTunes to Starbucks to Visa, and major companies. So it's a very, very difficult market to get in. So, it was a lot of hard work with that. But I think what's kept it all going and what's made it work, and even with the gift card getting into retail, it's because of how relevant it is today.
Absolutely right, Wayne. You've hit the nail on the head, and I know it's what keeps you going, but it's also what's bringing around what I when I started in vet education just 5 years ago, people told me I was 5 to 8 years early with the message that I was trying to deliver, and you were probably 10 years to 12 years early with the message that you were trying to deliver. But the fact is, you're getting some great traction because you're providing a real service to families in an area that they are overwhelmed and confused. No question.
Yes. And that early on, we didn't know how we would get there. Even the gift card, we didn't know we would do that, 8-10 years ago. But it's all been about awareness, use, and growth of 529. We think that's what will curb 529. We believe will curb debt, but figuring out ways to make it easy. And boy, I tell you, Americans bought $130 billion in gift cards last year.
Wow.
So if one little teeny fraction of that number gets socialized into an idea for saving for college, it's a big number.
It's huge. Our mutual friend over at Strategic Insight, Paul Curley, he's the keeper of all the data in the 529 industry, as far as I can tell. And, he tells us that there are over 13 million 529 savings plan accounts that have been opened with about $750 million of money saved for college. And, On one hand, I think that's always a big deal. We had Peter Mazareas on My College Corner a while back, one of the co-founders of the industry, if you can think of him that way, with a handful of others, and they still sort of scratching their head saying, why is it only $750 million? I think it's what you're trying to do and what others are trying to do to bring the 529 programs to the forefront and get them out there will help drive those numbers up pretty considerably.
I think so, and I'll tell you, to your point, the 529 industry really leveraged, and it needed to be done, leveraged financial advisors to grow 529. And I've looked at it a little different, because the people that run 529s, the states, they want all of their state residents to be able to save for college. They want everyone to use a 529. And my thought is, if you want everyone to have something, you don't sell it with financial advisors who only 13% of us use. You sell it at Target, Walmart, Best Buy, major retail.
Yeah, and you see, great work being done by some of the treasurers throughout the country with the Promise type programs where they're providing 529 accounts to kindergarten families, or pick a grade, but they're really beginning to move in that direction of getting right into what we call the true needy savers, meaning those folks who don't have a brokerage account at one of the great financial institutions in the world.
Absolutely. Not only a brokerage account, but many of these savers are not banked yet. Families aren't banked. So, there are definitely large need levels for this. We are participating with one. I'm glad you brought it up. Our gift cards make Nevada Kickstart in a pilot program. We're trying to make that program a little more tangible, and it's being used with some GiftofCollege gift cards.
Well, that's really tremendous. I have to say that I talk to families all the time, and savings, it's a very complicated, confusing topic, and there are options out there. And 529s, I'll be the first to tell you, I think they are good for a large number of families, but not for everybody. They have Coverdell savings accounts and bank accounts or credit union accounts, but really, when you look at it, 529s have become the program of choice for lots of families. And what kind of advice do you give folks when they're trying to decide what's best for them when they're just thinking about starting a savings program?
Save. It's one word, save. You have to start right now. The thinking about it may look confusing, but the confusing part is going to be, 18 years later when you're scratching your head wondering how you're going to pay for it. So, the way I look at it is every single dollar you save is significantly more than a dollar you won't be borrowing. So when it boils down into what's right for you, I think 529 for most Americans is the right product. And it's a product that, I tell people, my first thing is I say, check with your state to see if your state has a tax advantage in addition to the federal tax advantage. Look into that. But the key is just starting. I don't want to make it so dumbed down and simple where you just throw a dart and pick one, because that's definitely not the way to do it. And there's, comparison tools and selecting tools like we talked about that will help you get through that. But the key is to just get one kicked off. Get it open, get it started, tell your friends and family about it, tell your employer about it, ask your employer if they're doing anything around college savings. But the key is to just start. Just pick your 529, open it, fund it.
Well, that we are singing from the same hymnal. I talk about that all the time. And one of the great things about Twitter is you don't have much time to say anything. So I say something on the order of, saving $1 today is better than borrowing one tomorrow. And it's the line actually that I use to close every single podcast we do, because I believe exactly what you're saying. Wayne, just one last question. We touched on this a couple of times, and I tell you, when I scratch my head, if I remember right, you were a marketing major at Northern Illinois State. Is that right?
Northern Illinois University, absolutely.
Okay, and so as a marketing major, would you have told the college savings industry to name their program after a tax code number?
No, I wouldn't. And, this is the first time I've had this question, and I love it, because I've spoken to it without it being presented as a question multiple times. Again, if you want everybody to buy something, You need to brand it. And not only did we name it after a tax code, but then we had it, really sponsored by the states and ran by the individual states. So the next mistake was, one, naming it a tax code and just a number. The next mistake was allowing it to be named today between direct sold and advisor sold 529s. We have 91 different plans with 91 different names.
I know.
So you have, this state spending their, state's dollars marketing their plan. This state's spending their money marketing a totally different branded plan, yet it's just a 529. So I've even said that it would be interesting if a 529 provider came along and it's all about the marketing. I would call it the College Savings Plan of America.
There you go.
America's savings plan. Just something just branded that simple. The tax code thing will catch on because the people are, that are doing their taxes, that's when that will catch on. And that's how 401k caught on, is employers got involved in it. They, they didn't have to brand it because they provided it to the, the folks. And all of a sudden the folks learned what this new tax code was. You can't teach a tax code by branding it 529 and then naming it 91 different things. So yes, from a marketing perspective, it's not necessarily mistakes were made. It was just the evolution of the industry. But there is still a dire need for, and we hear it, and Dr. Mazareas, your partner, Invite Ed, who you mentioned that, invented this industry, and I believe he did. One of the founders, godfather of 529, he's the first to tell you that that's a change we need to make. He's been screaming out for the Got Milk campaign of 529
Exactly.
since I met him all these years ago. So it's recognized, and it's a considerable problem. But you know what, John? If everybody ends up going into their mainstream retailers and online retailers, which, our gift cards are available online at PayPal and eBay today as well. But we mainstream this Gift of College name, which is the name of what we're doing, that can be used by family, friends, employers. My goal is to make sure people know what a 529 is.
Yeah, and I think you've done a great job, Wayne, because I'm a finance guy, and I have to tell you, my advice to the entire industry is just rebrand yourself. Find some name like you did, frankly, that appeals to millennials, that describes what the outcome is. When we started talking about 401ks, I think, as you said, early on, the whole discussion was to help just average American families understand you need to save for your retirement. You need to save for your retirement. And then it came along that, the way you do that is through this 401k or whatever it might be. But
exactly.
I think that you're right on. I'm so glad that we had a chance to spend a little time today in My College Corner, Wayne. Congratulations for what you've built and are building. We're really excited for you. I have one last question. Can you just tell our listeners where they can find more information about Gift of College?
Absolutely. Come to GiftofCollege.com, where you're going to find, easy ways to go ahead and register for one of the profiles. You can learn about 529s. You can give a gift to a loved one if they're already a member. You can purchase gift cards online. So that's basic. That's the place to. And as I said earlier, you have all sorts of tools to learn about 529s. That's the place to come to learn about, Gift of College. It's as simple as you just want a gift card for a loved one or to get somebody started with one. We have ourselves online as well, but I encourage you to hit up your local Toys R Us or Babies R Us, and you'll find those at their cash registers.
That's absolutely terrific. Well, Wayne, thanks so much for joining me in My College Corner.
Thanks, John.
Well, that was Wayne Weber, founder and CEO of GiftofCollege.com. I have to tell you, from the second I met Wayne, I was so impressed by his vision of what was needed to simplify the college savings programs. And I'm so glad that he's making such great progress, helping, frankly, all of us save for college. I gave a Gift of College card not too long ago, and I hope you'll check it out too. So go to GiftofCollege.com, Toys R Us or Babies R Us or any of those other great retailers that Wayne talked about, and start helping a future student achieve the dream of college today. Thank you for spending some time in My College Corner with me today. Please send ideas for a show or your questions or comments to podcast@inviteeducation.com. And until next time, remember, saving $1 today is better than borrowing one tomorrow.